Hello and welcome to Dream Africa channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest uploads. Thank you all for your continued support. Your likes, comments, and shares keep this channel growing. Today it's a sad news. President of Iran has died. Let's just show you pictures from Iran State TV just a couple of minutes ago, and they confirmed the death of President Raisi and the Foreign Minister Amir Abdullahian in a helicopter crash. Now we see the black ribbon on the screen of the Iranian television. Ali Hashim is here. He is going to explain to us what has happened Iran. Of course, now things are clear. There's an announcement and the procedures will start. VP Mokhbar is going to become now the president and preparations for the next election are going to start, of course. Besides, there is something in parallel, the funerals. There are going to be funerals probably in Tehran. Whenever the corpses arrive in the capital. Normally, funerals will happen very quickly, of course. We are anticipating the Supreme Leader to give a speech to address the nation, of course highlight the main points here, and of course he'll have to talk to the people to mount to the officials, the president, the foreign minister and all the other debts. And of course the next steps, there should be a clear picture to the people what's going to happen, how things are going to happen. And of course he prepared the people yesterday by saying that they should not be concerned because whatever happens is not going to impact their lives, their daily lives. And the Iranians have a lot to think about actually, with the difficulties, financial difficulties, situation under sanctions, internal problems. Of course, this is going to be a really hard times. And in terms of that press call, there was a set in stone. What should happen? What about the Vice President, Mohammad Mubarak? What do we know about him? Well, President Mukbang comes from a religious family. He's also close to the Supreme Leader. He's mainly known to be an executive. He holds 2 PhDs, one in international law, another one in economics, and there's a track record of course he's under US sanctions also. So he's going to assume his new role probably immediately and become the new president. But the question here, is he going to run for elections? I was going to say so he's the interim president, but he then could just carry on afterwards. In theory it depends on whether the Constitutional Committee vets him and allows him to run for the election. Because in Iran first of all the candidates will apply for being candidates, then they'll be vetted, and whether the committee is going to accept or not, that's another issue. Some them would be actually. In one occasion VP was denied to run for election. So it depends on what's foreseen and what's the plan for the next president. So this is a time of intense mourning in Iran of course, but that election will come soon enough, and there are divisions in the country, aren't there? Is that something that the authorities will be concerned about as we get closer to that election day in 50 days or so? Well, given what happened and the mobilization that we saw, and actually the people being concerned all the time, I think maybe the establishment would want to see people queuing for elections to vote, which wasn't the case in the last parliamentary election where only 40% participated, and the by-election in Tehran which only 8% participated. And actually even the presidential elections was one of the lowest turnouts with 48%. So if the establishment is looking forward to gather people around the system, there will be a different way of election, and it will be open to more candidates and to maybe stronger competition. And if things are just the same like now, maybe we will know who is going to win before the election. Al Hashim, thanks for that. Let's just show you the latest situation. You can see there on the screen there that main picture that's very close to the crash site, where the search and rescue teams eventually homed in on. And you can see lots of cars and various people arriving there. At some point they will be retrieving the remains of the Iranian president and the foreign minister and the other people who are on board that helicopter and taking them back to Tehran. For a funeral, there is the site of the helicopter crash itself. You can see a great swathe of charred earth down the side of the mountain. And the only bit that's intact, in fact, is the tail of the helicopter at the top of the picture. There you can see how it's very impossible to imagine how anybody could have survived that. In total, 9 people were on board, and they were the President of Iran, Ibrahim Raisi Hussein Amir Abdullahian. He was a foreign minister. There was Malik Ramadi, who's the governor of Azerbaijan province, Muhammad Ali al-Hashim. He was the imam of a mosque in Tabriz. And Sadhar Saeed Mehdi Mousavi, he was the head of the presidential security unit. Of course, on board too, was the pilot, the co-pilot. There was also a security guard and a technician, all of them killed in that helicopter crash in the north of Iran. As of now, all the passengers on board, including the president of the country and the foreign minister, they were killed in the crash. So this is now confirmed by the state agencies, by the state TV and also by the executive deputy of the president himself, Mohsen Mansouri. So now the rescue teams they were just saying that some of the bodies are burned and it's difficult to identify who is who, but as of now, 7 of them, including the foreign minister and the president, they have been identified. So 2 others are still there, they're waiting for the confirmation. They're trying to under-identify them. So the remains of the bodies are going to be taken into the vehicles, and it could take quite a long time because it's a very challenging terrain and the weather conditions as of now are still quite challenging. It's muddy, it is mountainous area. At his Dastely forest. So it's going to be quite difficult also to get that bodies to the vehicles and then to the country's capital Tehran to take the official state funeral and also prepare them for the burial ceremony. So it was though the accident happened on Sunday around 1:30 p.m. local time in Iran, and 3 hours after that rescuer force have started, and it lost it roughly around 17 hours. And finally they managed to reach to the incident area, to the site of the crash and identifying the bodies. And now they're confirming, the authorities are confirming that all the passengers have died in the crash. So now everybody of course is asking what next for the country. So there will be the state funerals, there will be official burial ceremonies. According to the constitution in Iran, in 50 days. The country needs to hold an election, and meanwhile the first vice president of the country, Mohammad Mabur, is expected to be the interim president by the approval of Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader of the country. And in 50 days the country is going to an election and elect the new president Russell. Thanks for that, Russell said there in Tehran. There is an emergency cabinet meeting taking place with the authorities in Iran right now, after which we expect that the funeral arrangements will be announced. So we'll bring you that as soon as we hear further news. Thank for watching. Your support drives us to continue exploring the complexities of governance, diplomacy, and social change across the continent and all around the world.